Hey guys, what up with it? So I just wrote a blog for the first time in a long time. Actually, I like doing it, and I wish I had more time to do it. To be honest with you, because I think it's somewhat reflective or whatever. Anyway, I just like it. I used to do it a lot. Don't do it really anymore. But I have this website, Hipster Code, so I am gonna write for it every now and then. Hopefully more often. It's just like I said, time is a problem. But in here, I just basically was talking about Python versus C Sharp, just kind of being reflective because I have a lot of like why you should learn Python and some videos out there of why you should learn C Sharp and things like that. But with this article, I basically was able to get my thoughts down in writing, and I could have gone on for a lot longer. And that there may be subsequent articles, but I basically jotted all this down in about 15 minutes or so, and that's really all of the time that I have at the moment. So I may end up adding to it, but I could just sum it up by saying that. When the reason why this even all came about is because of this TOB index, which I've actually linked to before. Python and C Sharp just keep kind of changing paces and everything. Like right now, Python is ahead of C Sharp, and a lot of .NET C Sharp people would probably be up in arms about that, especially because you have Visual Basic .NET, which is right below it, which also seems to fluctuate quite a bit. I've never actually seen Visual Basic used professionally in any of the places that I've been. Everybody seems to use C Sharp, so I find that a little interesting. But I don't doubt it or anything. I mean, because I don't see Objective-C either. I mean, if you're a JavaScript .NET developer, then you're typically not going to see too much Python in a professional capacity either. So I guess we all shouldn't be like, have our blinders on just because we don't deal with the technology day in and day out. But here I go into like a description of what is Python. I mean, Python is what it's dynamically interpreted. You have C Sharp, which is a statically typed language, and it's compiled. The Microsoft HoloLens, by the way, looks like a pretty cool project that I think there's a lot going on with augmented reality, not just with Facebook's new product and Snapchat and everything, but Microsoft has this HoloLens thing, which is like going back to the kind of this eyewear thing, like almost like Sony PlayStation VR, Oculus, or even Google Glass, which was a complete failure. But this has, I think, a little bit more potential even than Google Glass. Like if you are trying to give demonstrations and things like that. Problem with these headsets is they're about $3,000 a piece or something. I'm sure the price will come down eventually, but they do look cool. I mean, we clearly saw with Pokemon and everything that augmented reality can be really popular. And obviously look at Snapchat. I mean, just taking photos and then having rainbows come out of your mouth when you open your mouth based on facial recognition can make your website worth $25 billion even though you don't make any profit. So there's all this there's that technology that's in play and everything, and I think that's interesting. But going back to this, what is better? There really isn't a better one. Like both are based off of the C programming language. Both are considered object-oriented. Python can be procedurally written, so that it doesn't have to be written in an object-oriented way, while C Sharp is fully object-oriented. As far as video games, there's no question. If you're going to be a video game developer, C Sharp is better than Python any day of the week. Python doesn't have anything remotely close to being able to use C Sharp with Unity, or even C Sharp for monogame, or even XNA, the framework that came before monogame. But even other ones as well. There was that, what was that, Paradox game engine. They changed their name to something else. I don't remember what it is now. But basically, you're going to find a lot more game engines and gaming and things like that involving C Sharp, with Unity, than you will with Python, unfortunately. A lot of people cite Pygame and everything, but Pygame is so old. Nobody's using Pygame to create games, man. Like this Joker, this is really old, man. This is if you just want to play around with gaming, but I feel like if you're gonna put in all that effort, Python is not the language that you want to choose for that. Just go ahead and start getting into Unity, C Sharp, maybe C++ even. Because like I said here, I said in either case, neither competes with C++, which has controlled the market for complex gaming engines. And that's probably going to stay the same for right now. So here, TOB has Python ahead of C Sharp. They keep changing back and forth. And I think it's interesting. Now, with Indeed.com, you can see that based on this chart here, there is more job listings for Python than C Sharp. C Sharp has just been trending downwards since 2014. just steadily heading down. And lately, though, they've made some changes. Like they have their .NET Core. .NET Core is now C# that can run on multiple platforms. Visual Studio Code is one of the best products that have come out recently from Microsoft that actually runs on Mac, Windows, Linux. It's a great editor. It's really pushing Atom out of its way. Atom used to have a stranglehold, I think, on the very slimmed down IDE market, but Visual Studio Code has completely taken that over. I see that in a professional capacity as well. Beyond that, you also have actual Visual Studio, which is Microsoft's like gigantic editor, which like a lot of enterprise level like shops are going to be using Visual Studio and TFS and all the the code testing tools and everything, NUnit, Mock, the MOQ, things like that. But Visual Studio is like the powerhouse editor that is just a monster for beginners to learn, but it provides like an immense amount of value to companies that do IT operations. Visual Studio, though, just recently came out for Mac just a couple days ago. So Visual Studio, the actual full-blown Visual Studio, is available on Mac. So that's a very new thing. Like I said, .NET Core is now running on Mac, Windows, and Linux, so you can have different stacks and everything. I have a buddy who has a .NET Core stack on ASP.NET running on a DigitalOcean droplet using MongoDB. So it's definitely moving over into like a cross-platform language. Now, the reason why Python, though, has traditionally been popular is because it's always been cross-platform. It was always installed by default on Linux and on Mac machines and things like that. So, everybody that knows Python knows that it's been around the block for quite a while now, for almost 30 years. So, Python just gets the job done, right? So, one of the interesting things about Indeed.com, and I cite this in my article, is like there's 45,000 jobs right now in the United States for Python, while only 35,000 for C#, which is pretty reflective of TOB as well as the graphic chart here for Indeed.com. But if you search for things like .NET has 57,000 openings. And granted, some of the .NET stuff is for Visual Basic. A lot of that, and the majority of it, is going to be for C#. And some people will say, C# or .NET, they kind of use them interchangeably. I do think C# is in a bit of a decline, but things like Xamarin being purchased in C# allows like mobile apps and things like that to be used. Python doesn't have an equivalent to Xamarin. Xamarin allows you to create cross-platform, actual apps, like native apps for Android and iOS. And major companies are using this product. Python's alternative is Kiwi. And Kiwi was a buggy mess as of a couple of years ago. I haven't messed with it lately, but like you're much better off with Xamarin or React Native or even Kotlin at this point if you're going to do mobile app development in a particular language. Kotlin is something I actually want to talk about in a separate video as well. But all that broken down, like what do I recommend? Okay, so it sounds like I just talked up C# quite a bit. There's a lot of enterprise jobs. Python's used in startups. C# used in enterprise stuff. And like there's obviously edge cases for both of those. But what do I recommend? I recommend starting off with Python. I started originally with Perl, man. Perl is some of the most cryptic looking stuff like you've ever seen. Perl code samples, so Perl, one of the reasons why I got away from Perl is because there were so many different ways of accomplishing the same thing, where Python, there was like one right Pythonic way of doing something. Perl kind of prided itself on how to be as complex, and it just seems like every time I went to try to find some sort of solution to a problem, there was like some other way of doing it. Like here's like if you just look at some of this code here, man, this stuff is absolutely hideous. Now, I know people that have come from a C background that found Perl to be very, very easy compared to C, but it is a write-only language, in my opinion. This is a very ugly, kind of cryptic-looking language. I'm sure a lot of Perl people would disagree with that, but I've seen Perl. I started with Perl. I went to Python. Python, to me, just made a ton more sense. And granted, Python to a Perl developer is going to look foreign as well. It's going to look like Cleon, but this just, the controlled white space and everything else, the lack of curly braces, the lack of special characters for scalars and arrays and things like that. Python just did away with all of that stuff. The fact that Python was created by a mathematician, whereas Perl was created more of like a linguist. There's many reasons why I took to Python. And for those reasons, I recommend Python over C Sharp because you're going to get stuff done with Python much faster than you will with C Sharp. C Sharp is a monster with an entire monster stack of technology that like you have no idea. Should I be using SQL Server? Should I be using Mongo? Should I be using MVC.net or web forms? Or should I be using different web components? Should I like it's like there's so much different stuff and but with Python it's like, hey, you want to build a website, why don't you use Django or Flask? Okay, pick one of those. Okay, now I got my stack going. Now I need to figure out how to deploy it and stuff, and that kind of gets beyond the scope of Python. But that's kind of where I started, man. I started building websites, and I started Python. Hipstercode.com is created in Python. It's cheaper to use. It's also the most taught programming language in all of technology schools and things like that. So here's some books. Like this is the book that actually got me started, Learning Python. So this was one of the first books. I also recommend this Python for Kids. Even though I've never actually purchased this book, I have picked it up at Barnes & Noble's. I was looking at it. I love the illustrations. I think it's great, not just for kids, but anybody who's just getting started programming. Also, I have my tutorial, and I can't link to it for whatever reason, but check out my Python for Beginner tutorial as well if you guys are interested in that. This Python for Beginners tutorial. Hey guys, what's up? So we're going to be learning. If we look at this, it has pretty good reviews and everything.
Python's where it's at.
200,000 views, 1,800 ups, 40 downs. So clearly this thing's pretty popular. In fact, I've had IT schools use this professionally. I had a school, a university out of England. I shared the email, I think, with you guys. But anyway, I gave permission for them to be able to use my tutorial and everything. So it's actually, it's one of the more successful tutorial series I've ever done. But you can also check out some of my other work here on Hipster Code as well. I'm going to be adding more and more tutorials as I get time eventually. But right now, as far as Python versus C Sharp, I would recommend Python starting out. I think C Sharp is fantastic. Both are good languages. You really can't go wrong with either one. These are just opinionated conversations, but I think they're fun conversations to have. Clearly, I think they also gather a decent amount of attention because a lot of people want to know, like, what is your perspective? And my perspective, I should have probably summed this up at first, is like, I've been programming in Python for almost 7 years. I've been programming professionally with C Sharp for about 5 years. And that all said, like, I choose Python for my stack at home because it's cheaper, it's faster for me to develop, and the tools are just, in my opinion, they're good enough and fast enough for me to be able to save a tremendous amount of money over C Sharp. So that's why I do what I do. And that's why you guys got to check out my sponsor, which is Dev Mountain Coding Bootcamp, because I'm going to be finishing up this video. Dev Mountain Coding Bootcamp is a 12 and 16-week developer bootcamp which trains you in person out of their physical locations in Dallas, Texas, Provo, Utah, and Salt Lake City. They're owned by a very reputable company. They have very good reviews online. They aim to get your foot in the door as a junior level developer with an actual shop, for web-based technologies like shops using Angular, Node.js, React, all the things that there's just not enough skill sets out there, enough people in the workforce that they're focusing on those technologies so that you guys can go out there and get a job. And it looks much better if you have a developer bootcamp, on your resume than nothing at all. So definitely check them out. Also, this is also brought to you by Eduonix Learning Solutions. Eduonix Learning Solutions has a ton of different courses and everything that you guys can sign up for. If you use my promo code, which is Chris Hawks, no space, just Chris Hawks, and go to eduonix.tv. That is where Eduonix Learning Solution is located, but they also have a YouTube channel. And if you guys subscribe to their YouTube channel, you can get all their latest videos and everything that they have. They're launching new videos all the time. They touch on a wide array of technologies and skill sets, so make sure you guys check them out for more information. And once again, with the promo code Chris Hawks for Eduonix Learning Solution at eduonix.tv, you're going to get 50% off on the year and 2 free months of for the sign-up cost to get signed up at eduonixtv.com. Or I'm sorry, just eduonix.tv. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good day. Bye.